Thank you. My name is Eithne Costello, and I have worked on pancreatic cancer for 23 years now, coming up to 24 years. I started working on pancreatic cancer in the year 2000. And my interest in pancreatic cancer is particularly in the early detection of pancreatic cancer. So very interested in trying to find ways to detect the disease earlier so that for patients, interventions can be made sooner, and hopefully those interventions will allow better treatment and better outcome for patients. I work at the University of Liverpool in the United Kingdom, and so yeah. So I was part of a European Union cost action, they're called, network, a European Union network that was set up by Nuria Malatz some years ago. And PCE was somehow born out of that European Union network. And because I was already a member of that, it was very natural for me to want to continue to be part of this network of European Union scientists and other stakeholders and remain part of that. So I joined PCE to continue my relationship with that network. It's been very good. I've been very lucky in that I've been able to attend stakeholder meetings, and I've attended 2 of them. And these are annual meetings, and they're important meetings because we come together, different stakeholders, people with different interests in pancreatic cancer, to sort of evaluate where the field is up to, where we as stakeholders working on different aspects of pancreatic cancer, where we're up to, what are the challenges, what needs to be done, how we can make things go faster, how we can improve things. And so those meetings are important. They're hard. We have some hard, tough discussions and tough days, but they are useful. And we sort of arrive at a point where we can kind of sum up where the field is up to and what needs to be done. And so for me, Pancreatic Cancer Europe is that's a very, very important aspect of the work that Pancreatic Cancer Europe does. I think that, I work in the early detection domain. I certainly think this is an enormous challenge. For many people, the disease is detected when it's already spread, and that's late. That poses challenges in terms of treatment options. It limits treatment options. It makes it difficult for the disease to be treated, and it certainly makes it difficult to cure the disease. So I think if the diagnosis for more people could be brought back earlier in time, when perhaps the disease has not yet spread or it's just developing, that would make an enormous difference to what can be done. And so I'm really committed to our research on earlier detection of this disease. From my understanding, where PCE can come into this is by, as I've said, we've got the stakeholders, we've got a group of people coming to this challenge from different points of view and from different backgrounds. And what's really important is to have a voice, to give a voice to this disease, and to speak to funders, to speak to governments and say, this cannot be ignored. We cannot, for many years, pancreatic cancer was sort of neglected because it was so hard. It felt like too big a problem to solve. And Pancreatic Cancer Europe can lobby the people who provide the funding, because really what we see with all cancer types is the level of funding matches the outcomes. You can't improve a disease as complicated as this without putting a lot of money into research and money into solving the problems. And so making sure that the governments and the European Union, those people who fund research and offer funding to improve this disease are aware of the problems, are aware of what needs to be done, know and are advised on where the money needs to be spent. I think this is really important. This is what PCE can bring. It can make sure that there's a voice for this disease. Yeah. What I've been really pleased to see recently is more light being shed on the relationship between diabetes and pancreatic cancer. So it is my own subject area, and it is something that I'm very passionate about. And it has been complicated. Traditionally, it's been complicated because the pancreas is, after all, the organ that makes insulin. It makes a bunch of hormones that regulate blood glucose, and insulin is maybe the most important one of those hormones. And traditionally, it's been hard to it's been considered that if there's a tumor in the pancreas, it's disrupting the architecture of the pancreas. It's destroying it such that it no longer is able to function properly in terms of blood glucose regulation, and therefore it's not surprising that people develop diabetes. However, what's emerged is that the percentage of people with diabetes and pancreatic cancer, and also the timeline, indicates that something else is going on. Pancreatic cancer is causing diabetes in ways we don't fully understand. And this, trying to understand that relationship between pancreatic cancer and diabetes, offers us more insight into the biology of this disease, but also offers possibilities of detecting the disease earlier, because we're going after trying to understand how can we use a new diagnosis of diabetes as a way to detect the disease earlier. So we know that 1 in 100 people over the age of 50 newly diagnosed with diabetes has pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer causes their diabetes, and the big challenge is how do we find a way to identify that person when their diabetes is diagnosed, identify that they actually have pancreatic cancer. So a lot of work is going on here, and I'm very excited about this research because it has the capacity to help so many people. Yes, I would like to leave a message for pancreatic cancer patients. I think that the thing that I've noticed when I started working on this disease, as I said, 24 years ago now, the overall survival was very, very low indeed. There were very few advocates. There were very few people working on research. It was very hard to convince funders that this disease, that we could actually make progress. And I think that has changed. What we've noticed is that the 5-year survival is now higher than it has ever been, although it's still nowhere as high as it should be, or as we would like it to be. There are more and more patient advocates and people, charities and other organizations advocating on behalf of this disease. And that's really important. And progress is being made. And so what I would like to say to patients is, you're not on your own. There's a lot of work going on, and there's a lot of people really invested in making a difference for this disease, and in making a difference, improving the lives of people with the disease and those people who will get the disease in the future, and improving outcomes. So I hope it's a message of hope. I can certainly see big differences between when I first started and where we are now, in terms of the amount of interest, the amount of funding, the understanding, and the commitment to really make a difference on this disease.